Alright, I'm back again, and I'm going to put together another couple of weeks of this Falcon kit. So, as I stated the last time around, I'm going to be putting together several weeks at a time, and thankfully, there was only 1 week's worth of painting, as I mentioned at the end of the last video, and from now on, or at least for the next couple of weeks, it's going to be just a lot of assembly, which is actually the kind of thing that I really dig, because painting makes me nervous, but assembling things does not make me nervous. So I'm going to be putting together a bunch of stuff, and I hope it won't bore you to death, so let's see what's going on now.
Here are the fact files for the 3 issues I've decided to assemble this time around. We'll just take a quick look through these and see what kind of fascinating Star Wars information I can't understand is going to happen while I'm putting these together. So here's a different Carillion freighter, the YT-1300F and 1300P. I actually really like the paint job on this thing, and if I wasn't aiming to try to reproduce the Falcon closely, I would totally go for that. I really dig that paint scheme there. I think it's pretty rad, but oh well. Blueprints, more cockpit. Hey, hyperspace. What do you mean there's no hyperdrive? Anyway, so there's some stuff about interplanetary travel. Here's our navigation computer. Never really realized that was it, but there you go. And then, hey, smooth as Billy D, Colt 45. Dagobah, this week's planetary fact file. Some of the wildlife going on there. I think this is probably all really interesting crap. Can't understand it. A little bit about the dark side cave there. And our build information. Here we go. This is the first bit that we're going to be going through. Interestingly enough, these are all pieces that came in previous week's issues. How about that? Issue 11. Boom! The twin ion engine fighter. Oh yeah, loving it. A little bit more there. I don't know about you, but I think the TIE pilot's uniform is a little bit flat. I mean, they got the cool jimmy jammies on the chest piece there, and the helmet's certainly dope, but the rest of it, I don't know, just looks like a suit, but hey, whatever, man. Still pretty rad. Bickety bam, and then we've got, this is about Alderaan. Yeah, see? And there it is. Bye-bye. If any of you haven't seen the gag image online about the Alderaan Lego set, go check it out. It's pretty funny. More information there. Hey, Docking Bay 94, right? Now this, again, looks like some stuff that would be pretty interesting. It talks about the movement of the axes of movement, I should say, that the Falcon operates on and the different thrust vectors that it's got there. I think that's pretty cool. Something else as well. Here you can make out some of the production drafts about the scaling of the actual models. I thought that was pretty cool. Too bad I can't read any of that crap. And then our build guide, again, a little bit more dealing with that interior hold passageway there. Going to be stacking on a couple more pieces there. And then issue 12. Here we've got a little bit more about the cargo hold, because we're still working off of that. And a slightly different model of Carillion freighter. And here it is. You can see the blueprint talking about how different it is than the Falcon on the interior. And here again, in what it says up here in Japanese, roll, pitch, and yaw. So about the movement of the Falcon. I would probably love reading about this. Look at this stuff, man. You know, like, that's cool. That's some stuff that people just decided, I'm going to figure out how the Falcon works because I love Star Wars that much. That's dope. I can't read it. Production stills, always cool to see what it looks like behind the scenes. Boom! Coruscant. Like a lot of the stuff that showed up in the prequel trilogy, I always kind of preferred imagining a lot of what the universe looked like, the Star Wars galaxy. But I gotta tell you that the treatment that the actual visuals were given, I rather liked, and I'm sure I could read a lot of interesting stuff there if I could actually interpret it. But framework, gonna be a lot of framework coming in from this issue, and believe it or not, I'm actually rather excited about putting that together because I know how to do that sort of thing reasonably well. Here again you can see a schematic on how the actual production model would work. can see the detail that's gone into that. And to the best of my knowledge, this model has been duplicated very faithfully off of those schematics. So it's pretty exciting. So yeah, there we go. That's what we're going to be working with this time around. So let's just get cracking. First up are the pads that are going to line the interior ring of the hold wall. So I've got my toothpick, and I've got my crazy glue, my cyanoacrylate glue, and I'm just going to be slapping glue onto each one of these little puppies and running them around the edge of the ring here. Now, initially, I had intended to just take the glue to it like I have previous pieces, but at the recommendation of the build guide, I'm actually going to use that toothpick to apply a much smaller amount of glue, just to make sure that I don't end up with globs all over the place, and also that I don't end up with having everything stick to my fingers like you might recall I had with the technical station, because I'm a great big jackass. Slightly less so this time. At any rate, just going to fit these parts on. This one is quite snug. I'm just going to go ahead and see how snugly the rest of them fit on here, so I have a feeling for how much pressure I'm going to have to apply. And yeah, actually, these are really, these are really snapping into place more than just slotting on, which is interesting because, like this one here, it's going to create a little bit of tension in me when I try to glue it on, and it glues itself out of place. So, yeah, this one just kind of sits on there, right? That's going to pop off when I move it around. But there we go. And la-di-da, like that. Okay, now they're going to start popping off, so you know what? I don't give a crap. Well, I do give a crap, but anyway. Now I know what I'm in for, so one at a time, I'm going to start applying glue to these. Let's see how this goes. Alright, getting on towards the last one. We're just going to keep that little part there to ourselves. If you're watching this, you'll know what I'm talking about. And, alright, so, here we go. Got our interior hull ring liner thing going on, and honestly, I think it looks pretty good. I like the way the pads look. Oh, this one's a little bit off. Maybe I'll install it this way. Yeah, I like the way they look. There's actually a little bit of pre-painted weathering on there, so that looks nice. I'm not going to bother with any painting on that. And yeah, so next step is we're going to take this piece, and, well, it's going to be more gluing for these bits, this bit, and this bit here, and it goes in like that. So, well, let me get you better in frame there. And there we go. So it's going to be gluing, gluing, gluing. And I think I need to consult the guide for a moment. Alright, just to make sure, I checked the guide real quick. So the best way to go about this is to slot this bit into the hull first. Oh, that's a snug fit. And then to position this bit in place against it. And yeah, this I am foreseeing a little bit of glue attached to my fingers. So for those of you actually watching this, why don't you take bets on which part of my fingers gets stuck to this piece as I try to glue it in. But before that, I'm going to do something a little bit easier. I'm going to put this little guy in here and this little guy in here and be happy about that, because that is pretty easy and I don't think even I can screw it up. Boop. In you go. There we are, nice and snug. And boop. And in you go. Look at that. It just drops straight in. Bam. There's our instrument panels. Highlighted. Proud of my rinky-dink paint job. Alright, now. Here comes the grand finale of sorts for this. This was a snug fit, so I'm going to want to be a little bit delicate with how I apply the glue here. You know what? Let's go with the toothpick. I'm going to apply a thin ring around the edge of the frame here. And then I'm just going to shove the piece inside there. I think this will do. Of course, with it being such a snug fit, it's going to be a bit challenging deciding whether it's the glue that's holding it in place or just the tension of the plastic itself. But you know what? I don't really care, because I don't think it's going to move around that much. A little bit more in there. Alright, in you go. And moment of truth. Boom. Alright. Snuggy, snug, snug. Okay. Not unhappy with that. There's a little bit of space there. I don't know if there's... Well, maybe I could take some glue to it. You know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try and put some glue on this toothpick. And I'm going to try and get it in that little crease there. Yeah. Because you know what? Why the hell not? Alright. Let's see. Does this end in tears? Let's see if I can space it out a little bit more. Now you can see it's a little damp there. Ah. Ha! Ha! Victory! It's still a little damp there, but I'm counting on it drying out, and you know what? Never going to see this part anyway. Ah, look at that. My gap is filled. Alright. So then, ultimate challenge mode. This bad boy needs to sit in here. Now, I need to ensure I put the glue in the places where my hands are less likely to touch. So if I'm going to hold it like nya, I'm going to want to apply glue at the bottom ends of this horseshoe shape here and across the top, and then hope for the best. This could end badly, but gotta do it. So let's see. Toothpick or not toothpick? I think the toothpick's going to take too long, and I kind of want a little bit more adhesive here. Here goes, folks. Let's get my glue here. All right. There we go. And across the top. Sorry, a little out of frame. Alright, this is it. Oh, in you go. In you go. That's right. Okay. Okay, baby. Oh, come on. Alright, I think I got it. Yeah, I got it. Yes. Yes! Yes! Ha! Pleased. Pleased. You can even see. Look at that, right across the edge. That is a straight fit. Oh. Oh, yeah! Something working right! Okay. So, that right there is issue 10. That is the only gluing I'm actually going to do right now, because the next couple of issues are internal frame only, which means it's going to be me and my screwdriver and a little bit of patience. So let's go ahead and bust out those other pieces. And I am a great big liar. Check it out. These are the next parts from issue 11, and because I'm stupid, I didn't realize that there was a great deal more gluing to be done. So what we've got here are all the pipes that are going to get plugged into various spaces on the hold wall that we just put together a moment ago. And I'm going to be assembling those and trying to glue them into place, probably getting them stuck to my fingers. And I love it. Now, I already did a test fit of some of these pipes, just a little bit to check for myself how they look, but I'm going to do that again for the benefit of my viewing audience here, all 3 of you that watched it. So why don't we go ahead and set some of these aside and get to work on that. We're going to be needing this bit the whole way through, and the first pipe to come together, move these. First pipe to come together is going to be this dark gray one here. Now this one comes in 2 pieces, so I go ahead and tuck those together. I've already sanded down the sides of all this, so I want to make sure that it's nicely aligned there. You can see that it's sitting parallel, and this part is going to slot in here. And when I'm gluing it, I need to make sure that this part on the back doesn't actually hold at all on its own into that little slot there. But this part needs to sit right at the back against one of these pads here, like so. Let me just say, okay, this is where it's going to be. So it's going to sit mostly like this. So it doesn't really have a place where it attaches, but of course this is the back of the piece, and you're not even going to see this when the model is together. But my task is, number 1, to ensure that I've got it in the right spot here on the hole, in the holes of the doorway there, and also that I glue it into the right position against the actual door frame itself. So this is the ideal arrangement that I'm going for. So first things first, gotta glue these 2 pieces together, and for that I'm gonna need my trusty toothpick again, my technical glue applicator. This could be a little tricky. Potential for tears fairly high. Come on, glue. God damn it. Now what? Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, man! Alright, time out. Alright, time in just to show you. You can see I took a thumbtack to the end of my glue there, and that little booger of dry glue was gumming up the plumbing, so I had to take care of that piece. Alright, stupid glue. Well, at least it didn't get completely gummed up. Alright, let's try that again. There she comes. Alright, just a teensy little bit. And now let's see if I can ruin my model again. Glue in. Pardon. And you're gonna go on like this. Alright. There's a bit of a gap there. Don't really think there's anything I can do about it. Do you know what? That is going to be so completely invisible. Alright, next step. So, according to the build guide here, this part needs to sit in this hole here. So that's where it's going to go after it slides away. And I need to ensure that's stuck against the side there. Alright, so, alright. Glue is going into that hole there. Da, da, da. Maybe I should toothpick it, huh? Let's toothpick it. Toothpick, my new best friend. Whoops, let me get it in frame as well. My best friend here, everything in frame. Stupid off-center camera. Alright. The glue goes in. Yeah. And do or die. Okay. I want to give it a few. Let it sit. Alright, are you enough? Yeah, that's pretty much glued. You know what? I'm going to take a little bit more glue to that. Just tuck some in there. Make sure it doesn't get all moving around before I glue the back side. Alright, there's a little bit. Alright, now to the back side. What I'm going to do, hey, look at that, it stands up. I'm just going to take a little bit of glue, tap it against the back of that pad, and then hold the back of the pipe on there so it gets affixed. Oops, again, I'm doing it off center. Alright. Let's get a good angle on it. Glue on there. Okay, and that's my thumb sticking to it. Now I might be gluing the hell out of my thumb to this thing. Yes, I am. Okay, hang on. That was crap. Let's try that again. Attempt number 2 to glue this piece. Well, at least the top part's holding. Famous last words. There. That'll do it. Alright. She's on there. Alright. There's pipey pipe number 1. Next, I'm going to let you sit for just a second. Next, we've got a similar arrangement. Second pipe that's going to go in there is this bad boy. And again, this is another 2-parter. Now, when I was test fitting this one, you can see that the pin there is much, much smaller than the other one. So this one doesn't even really hold on, right? For a test fit. Oh, come on, you... God damn it. This is not as bad. If you recall from one of my earlier videos, I had the control sticks for the main cockpit control panel, and one of them literally flew off about 2 meters or so into my sink. And boy, were there a lot of bad words said there. Scared my kids. Anyway, this piece is going to go on much like the last one. So again, I'm just going to take Mr. Handy Dandy toothpick here and apply a wee little dab in my worst Irish stereotype accent. Because it's that late and I'm in that kind of mood. Alright, now can I screw this up? This is going to be particularly tricky. Got it. Got it. Nailed it. Look at that. Alright. This needs to go in like that. Oh, look at that. That actually looks pretty good, I think. Just like, yeah. Alright, so again, we're going to toothpick this in there. Okay, hang on. Double check. Triple check even. Okay. Need to go into that second little groove there. Yeah, that looked pretty good, huh? Alright. So, Well, you don't even want to come out. I suppose that's a good thing, but let's make for certain with the gluing. So, glue. Alright. And pipe goes in. There we go. Ow, crap. Yeah, see, this is where the fun begins. There you go. Get in there. Alright, it's actually kind of wedged in there, which I do not mind in the slightest. I'm going to give it another shot. A little bit of dab from Mr. Glue toothpick before I take it to the back, just like the other one. Alright, cool. Now the back. And again, we're going to just apply a little bit to the pad. Hopefully fit it in there. It's looking even like a tight fit even for my toothpick. I feel like I should use a sewing needle even. Alright. Get in there. Alright. Oh, that's golden. That is golden. First time's a charm. Look at that. There we go. Excellent. Looking sharp. I like that. I do. I like that a lot. Okay, so now we've got 2 more of these pipes. And these, this guy and this guy. Alright, get up in the frame there. Alright, these 2 guys are going to run along down the side here. The first one is going to sit in like this. And the second one kind of just plops down next to it. Like this. Now the trick for these is that I need to ensure that I glue them so that they sit parallel with the bottom of the floor, because as we're going to see at the tail end here after I get this done, is that the floor of the hold is going to run right along the edge here, and these 2 bits are going to fit into a slot in the floor. So actually, just holding it here like this now, kind of thinking it might be a good idea to just glue them with my thumb holding them in place. And then I know they're going to sit properly. Yeah, why don't I do that? because I can't really fit the glue in there. Alright, I'm going to have to go risky. Alright. Here's the first shot. This is big enough that I think I can just give it a shot with the glue directly. There we go. And in you go. Sweet. Cool. Yep. Okay. That's it. Does that look parallel? That looks pretty parallel. Now this guy. Maybe. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is just... Well, let's see, how are you going to sit? You're going to sit like this. So, I need to put some glue right at the top edge of this little arc of the door frame. Boom, just like that. Get some of that glue out. Oh, there's a bit of glue there. That'll dry out. And it'll be okay. Alright. Cool. Well, yeah. Those bits are setting okay. Looking pretty cool. Alright. Final piece is one more pipe here. And this one is going to sit in this tiny little hole right there. And the whole pipe is going to just kind of sit up against the edge of the hole like this. That's where it goes now. I don't know. Kind of looks like it leads off into nowhere, but that's what the build guide says. So this one should be relatively easy. Again, famous last words, but I'm going to take Mr. Toothpick again. Sorry, let me slide up a little bit. Take Mr. Toothpick again. Jab some glue into that hole, and then we'll be done with this section, this issue. Alright, I think there's enough glue in there. Well, there's one way to find out. Alright, well, it's looking pretty glued. Alright. Okay, well, considering what this thing looked like before, I think it's looking pretty good now. Got my painted bits, got all my gluey glue bits, I got all my pipes in there. They're all sitting pretty. Backside, not interesting, but, you know, there you go. Alright, so then, final measure to do here is to take this entire bit and put it into this godforsaken monstrosity that has caused me so much grief, and slot this bad boy in, and hopefully it'll fit. And look at that. Bam! Bam! Look at that! That actually looks pretty frickin' cool. Like, it's actually starting to look like the interior of a ship. Fan-frickin-tastic. Alright. Well, that's that. And that is it for issue 11. Last one, issue 12. And this time, seriously, I think this is a no-glue part. This will be interior framework. But you know what? Let's find out if I'm a liar. Alright, here's all the framework that's come together across the last 3 issues. Each one, 10, 11, and 12, had basically 2 pieces a pop of the frame. Also, a couple of these connecting ribs that'll hold them all together. The little bits here to keep the rib joints connected to one another as well. A couple of these tiny little 2-hold connectors there that we've seen before when we were assembling that earlier piece of the frame. A whole bunch of screws. Now, There are a ton of different screws that have come with this kit, as you might imagine. And these in particular, these brass screws, have caused me a little bit of consternation already. There are two different types of screws, or at least that I'm aware of now, two different types of brass screws that come with this kit. And one set are called machine screws, which are these, which are have very tight threading there, and then there are also tapping screws, which are used to actually basically bore out threads for themselves rather than actually have threaded holes. So I needed to make sure that I had the machine screws, the ones with the tight threads there, instead of the tapping screws, because they could screw up the holes on the frame, and I'm guessing also cause me more problems in the future when I actually need tapping screws. So there was a little bit of tooth grinding as I tried to sort it out, because honestly the difference between the tapping screws and the machine screws is not terribly obvious, or at least not to my relatively untrained eye. So I'm just hoping that I managed to pick the right ones and that I'm not going to jack this whole thing up. So anyway, going to get started on assembling the frame. It's actually something I've been looking forward to because, as I mentioned before, I like assembling things. So anyway, off we go. I'm just going to keep the camera rolling and move some of these pieces out of the way to make it a little bit easier to work, and I'll just bring them back in as we go along. There we go. Alright, check it out. There we go. There's our framework. Now, what we can do is take this thing and flip it over and take some of the exterior hull pieces, stack them on top, see what they look like. So, alright, I got my pieces, so we're just going to test fit these panels and see how they go. So the first one we've got here, this one is going to line up like this. Push it into place. Okay. And then I've got this one here. It's going to go here. Alright. It's a nice snug fit. I like that. I like to believe that that is a sign of good craftsmanship. Especially because this thing is pretty goddamn expensive. Say, do I have you on the right way? Yes, I do. No, wait. How are you going to fit on? Yes, you fit on like... No, I'm doing this backwards again. There we go. That's how you go on. Boom. There we go. Alright, so we can take a look, and that's what it's starting to look like. Well, it's not as exciting as the other bits, but I think it is pretty cool. You know, like now I've actually got like a section of the hull here, you know. Obviously these panels are going to get screwed down and so on. But, you know, honestly, it already looks pretty cool. I mean, of course, later on in this whole thing, when I get around to attempting to paint this thing and hopefully not screwing it up, it'll look even better or worse, depending on how badly I paint it. But, you know, it's going to be pretty dope. I'm pretty excited. Alright, now, done 3 more issues worth of assembly here, and I'm going to drag this other piece back into frame. We've got the nearly completed, well, I shouldn't even say nearly completed because I don't really know how much more is going to go into it yet, although I think it is nearly completed interior section of the ship with all my pipeys and stuff like that. Looking pretty good as far as I'm concerned, given that I'm not going as completely insane as some people that I've seen out there. I've got all these bits here. You know, if I happen to get some white paint, I might yet just try and do a little bit of after the fact painting on that light, but either way, you got that. And we've got our exterior hull with the framework underneath. These are not permanently affixed for a while yet, I think. But making a little bit of progress. So I'm going to examine the next couple of issues and see what I've got ahead of me. So if you don't see something for a while, it's probably because I'm putting off painting stuff. But anyway, thanks for putting up with this incredibly long and dull video, and, well, I'm going to keep posting them, so, you know, watch them or don't, whatever. Alright, see ya.